Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of JailBreak Africa, the podcast where we are trying to liberate African minds for entrepreneurial success. If you're looking for a podcast that challenges your thought process, then this is the place to be. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so that you don't miss out. Like and share this video with your friends and family so that they also don't miss out. Remember to share it even with those in the diaspora, even those your friends who are in Africa, across Africa, because this podcast is definitely meant for you. And of course, we have got exciting topics that come your way each and every other week at exactly 6 o'clock every Friday, GMT +2 time, in case you're in Central Africa. So yeah, that's the time that you can expect this podcast to come live to you. And of course, I'm joined by my main protagonist, the chartered vendor.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Fine.
How's your day today?
Super.
It's super.
Super, but the challenges.
Yeah, talk to me.
No more challenges.
What the no more challenges?
Yeah.
All right. So to get started, I don't really understand what banks really do. I was told that banks make money by loaning out money. They have to create a property portfolio and have some number of investments and some safe assets, including bonds and etc. But I feel like banks in Zimbabwe, they are now benefiting off the monthly charges or the transaction charges.
Is it even monthly charges only? Because like right now, if you withdraw your money, you're receiving your US dollars in account. What's the percentage of actually withdrawing that money?
I don't know. Is it not 2%?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's
I think if you withdraw, if you withdraw 2,000, $40 is taken from your account.
$40.
So it's 2%.
2%, yeah. So
that's a lot of money.
It's
2,000.
It's a lot of
so
money.
If it's 20,000, it's how much?
Yeah.
If it's 20,000, it means it's $400.
The numbers
charges.
Charges only.
Charges.
For withdrawing. Right. So why I brought this one up, there's a young man that I encouraged to register their business. So they did some years back. So now they want to enter into the corporate space because they've mastered the art of making picture frames. So I assisted him with everything that was required for the banks and etc. So the account was successfully opened today. Now we're having a conversation with the bank teller. Then we are asking them. So they opened 2 accounts, one for the local currency and the other one for the USD, which is the Nostro. So I was now asking them to say, how much do you charge to maintain these accounts on a monthly basis? And guess what they said? For the USD one, they want $20 per month to maintain the account.
Wow.
There's nothing that they've done there.
How are they maintaining the account?
I don't understand, because I know banks are big enough to have their own systems to manage their accounts. And it's their system that they are hosting by themselves. And they're charging $20. So I was thinking,
for maintaining,
it's free money. Imagine for 1,000 clients, they get a free, how much? 20 times 1,000. That's 20,000 income
for maintaining accounts.
It's not like they are moving with a broom cleaning their account. Charges. Nothing. Just maintaining. In fact, if we say maintaining, we overcomplicate the terminology. For you just opening an account with us, we are charging you $20 a month.
Are we still even getting interest?
No.
For keeping money in the bank? Not anymore.
You actually lose value by keeping money in the bank. So now these days, if you want interest, you have to open a different savings account, which has some rules that tells you that you can't withdraw the money within the first 3 months or something.
And the bank will be taking that money and spin it to
and making more money, buying properties. Imagine, do you know how much interest you make by putting your money in a bank account? Just 5%. It's even lower than the maintenance. Even the maintenance. So you're losing money, actually. You're losing money. You're better off starting your own chicken project or whatever than putting that money in a savings account. But I'm so worried about the charges for the banks.
So what do the banks, what do they have to do? I think we should get someone from the bank.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
Probably they need, probably we don't know something which they know.
They know. But I feel they're disconnected.
Previously, I still remember in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, you used to put money in the bank. At least it would have some interest.
Exactly.
I don't know what is happening right now.
Well,
that is it taking advantage of the economy?
Of course.
Are there any challenges which are there in the economy? But let's say if it's a Zim dollar, I can understand.
Yeah.
What about USD?
I know, right? And they call USD the stable currency. Actually, you know what? So as I'm looking at this, I'm not so concerned about the charge per se. It's of course it's a lot of money, but I'm now looking beyond the charges. Have you ever wondered why people don't like paying taxes? It's not like they don't want to pay, but the resources or the platforms that allow them to pay taxes are expensive. Imagine for me to properly account for my expenses, right? I need a bank account so that I can account for my taxes and pay them, right? But then look at how much the bank is charging me just to have an account. And this is a corporate account, right? Where we are trying to, we are saying the economy it's heavily informalized. We want people to formalize. And then when you preach the gospel of formalization, then they come to the $20 charges. Do you think this will attract people to open bank accounts?
They won't. And I think that's why we're now having a cash economy.
Yeah.
Whereby everyone is transacting in cash. And when people are transacting in cash, definitely they're not going to pay taxes.
That's true. Do you know what the young man ended up saying? He just said, I'll just let the account close by itself. Because anyway, my bulk of my transactions are in cash.
Because so it's 12 months times $20. So you need 240 USD
per year
to just maintain your account.
Yeah. Whether you or not, you're getting money. Oh, I thought
Don't
maybe
we have the most expensive accounts.
We have the most expensive
accounts.
Do you know that other banks in other countries, they actually give you back some cash for opening an account with them because they know they'll make their money from the transactions and the deposits as well. Because remember, a bank is the one that can facilitate those transactions where if I have got a contract that requires cash up front,
exactly,
line of credit.
Exactly.
Banks can make a lot of money from the lines of credit before we even get to other assets and other things. So if they are now putting up these barriers with exorbitant charges, who is going to bank? It's going to further harm us who are already banking because they are going to lose customers. But we're already the customers and we have seen the convenience of banking. So they're going to charge us even more to compensate for the loss in revenue for the new clients.
It's a disaster.
They're so disconnected. It's a big disaster.
It's a disaster. But what can be done? What is the solution for the country?
I feel
this is also contributing to the suffering of the economy as well.
That's very true. That's very true. Look at how much money is flying around without passing through the banks. Look at our Mbarium sick.
More because I know
it's more liquid.
I know some of my clients who can make around $20,000 a day in cash,
and it doesn't pass through the bank.
They don't even want to hear anything called a bank account.
What I think would be a perfect solution is we need to have an indaba with the banks and the entrepreneurs, where we sit all the executives, the project development managers, whatever from each bank. We sit them down in a panel. Then we invite the entrepreneurs. Then we have conversations about the banking system.
Yeah, but besides maintenance and charges, I had an opportunity to actually open a bill to the bank came to me and they said, no, you can get lines of credit. So I was looking they said, no, instead of getting a loan, rather get an overdraft. It took me almost 6 months to apply before they could approve that.
6 months.
Documentation, it was something else. When it comes to processes, it's Office B, Office A, Office C. And do you know that I think we are the only country whereby getting a gun license is easier than even opening an account. Because when you start opening an account, they tell you that they require a CR2. They want this. They want your ID. They want your proof of residence with your surname and affidavit. And they're like, guys,
what for?
And it is as if they're making. I think if the bank guys were corrupt like other departments, which I know,
they won't mention them
by names for our security. But I tell you, it was possible for a bank teller to actually say, please pay me $20 extra for me to speed up your account.
Yeah, that's very
true. Possible.
And you know what?
And the system is still manual. I think there's only one bank in Zimbabwe, probably big up to NMB.
Yeah,
you can open your bank account using your phone
without
all these funny documentations. But these other banks, I don't know. Probably, but the loan issue, twice. I thought probably For the first time, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
The second time, I ended up saying, guys, just keep the money. That's when they actually brought that money into my account the next day. Because I just said, guys,
you can keep your money.
Keep your money. You don't want to give me your money.
You know what? With the corporate spaces, we are stuck in between two places. You know, these days you can't get a bank account without getting the TIN number from ZIMRA.
And that system also is something else as well. In other countries, when you register a company, you also get your TIN number. In Zambia, when you register a company, then you automatically you're supposed to get the TIN number. But here, you're supposed to first register the company. After registration of the company, you open a bank account. After opening a bank account, you get before you even open a bank account, you're also supposed to visit ZIMRA.
Yes.
Then they give you what they call the bank tax clearance. It's there.
Bank advice note or something.
Something like that. Then you have to go with it. You have to show the bank as well.
It's part of the requirement.
Then they open your bank account. Now you can now go and process the tax clearance. Damn.
So by the time you are done with the process, you don't even want to pay tax anymore.
And even included. Also, ZIMRA comes in to play. For me to get a VAT, like right now, every company which is getting more than $25,000 is supposed to be registered for VAT per year. $25,000 per year. Which means almost each and every business is supposed to register for VAT. But see where the catch is now. When you go to the tax authorities, you want to register for your VAT. They will start asking you questions. You know that you're supposed to pay sometimes for you to actually get a VAT. You're supposed to pay something.
Brown envelopes. Yeah, of course. But even the TIN number.
For me to get a VAT, for me to get TIN number, I'm supposed to pay something. But you know what it does now? It makes the whole economy not compliant. How? Remember, if I'm supposed to register for ZIMRA, let's say I'm supposed to have registered with ZIMRA, and I'm supposed to have registered my VAT. What I can now do is, if I don't want to really register, but I just want to show proof that I tried to register, I'll just compile my papers. Then these guys, they'll decline my registration. I'll just keep the papers. When they come after years, I'll just tell them that you're the ones who denied.
Yeah. And it will make absolute sense.
Exactly.
I don't understand why. Because, look, we are trying to pay taxes. The process should not be so difficult at all. Actually, it should be easy.
It should be easy.
They should come to us and tell us that we had you register a new company. Do you want to register for VAT?
They're supposed to be making even, all those promotions, even on radio to say, those who have registered companies yesterday, please come and to smoothly register you for taxes. But you need a hurdle. Because even right now, it's difficult for an ordinary man to just register a company.
Yeah,
that's
very
not
difficult.
Even about ZIMRA. Registration of a company in Zimbabwe, if you want to do it by yourself, 14 to 20 days. You have to go through.
That's even short. That's short. Let me tell you something.
If you don't also write to collect, they'll send it by mail. You receive it after 3 months.
You know, my first company, I tried to register it myself. Do you know what happened? I went there 3 times. Do you know what would happen? I would send my papers, right? So the name is reserved for only 2 weeks. My name reservation would expire before the papers come out. Then when I'm asking them, they'll tell, no, the name is not reserved. Pay. Pay. Then I'll go back again until I then decided, you know what, I can't do this by myself.
You need a consultant.
Let me find a consultant. And then they ended up doing it for me. And they asked it for some money on top, unofficial, undocumented, and receipted money. And then the process was faster. So it steals away from our economy. Like I'm looking at one of the fastest growing economy in Africa, Rwanda.
I heard you can do it by
a day. Do you know a day is even long? In Rwanda, you can register a company, get the tax clearance and bank accounts in 30 minutes. They do it. They consolidated the process. So if you see a tender in Rwanda, you don't need 2 weeks to prepare for it. You can just be reading your newspaper like, oh, there's a tender. What is required? A company that does ABC. You can register in 30 minutes and submit. In Zimbabwe, you have to be prepared 2 months in advance.
And even about the tenders.
Yeah.
The documentation that you need to win the tender.
It's a lot of documentation.
So I don't know, but we're simply, I strongly believe that we're the enemies of our economy.
Yeah, true.
We're the ones who are actually scaring even investors. Because, like, I think we once talked about this. We also have ZIDA coming into play.
5,000 just
5,000 for you just to get registered.
Not trading.
If you're a foreigner.
Not
just
company,
registration.
No
rentals. No what?
The knock. I'm here. I'm trying to see if I can invest in Zimbabwe. 5,000. Just, some people are making money easily, you know?
Yeah, but you see, but it doesn't grow our economy.
It doesn't.
Because you see, most of the investments, I'm always on the record of saying, most of the investments which are supposed to be spilling into Zimbabwe, because most of the people, they want to really register in Zimbabwe. I talk to the investors. I talk to the foreigners. They want to register in Zimbabwe, they'll end up in Zambia. Because in Zambia it's much easy, it's much cheaper. It's much reasonable than this side. So end of the day, we lose. Everyone loses. The government loses.
Then we also lose.
The economy loses. Everyone is losing, including those who are supposed to get jobs.
Yeah.
So just imagine if we're Dangote in Zimbabwe. Because I heard that he tried to invest into Zimbabwe, but we scared him away. The process is
too much paperwork,
too much complications. Then that investment is now in Zambia. Hence in Zambia, cement is very cheap. We are now forced to drive to Zambia to go and import that cement. Wow. Where are we as a country? We are simply destroying ourselves. We are shooting ourselves under the foot because of some of our... Because some of these, it's nothing to do with police. There are things which are in policy, which is being done by the government, yes. And we say our government, I know we've got a listening president, a listening government, they'll correct. But we've got other things which are doing unofficially.
Individuals.
You know, it's not even part of the system.
I was happy when ZIMRA introduced that online system.
TARMS.
It's very efficient, but there's
one way or another,
there's need for someone to click and approve there. That's the person who's been eating people's money. That one person who's supposed to click approve. Like your job is to just go to work and click approve.
Yeah, approve.
Why do you need money? Don't you have a salary?
No, I think it's a syndrome which we are supposed to fight without really blaming each other, without blaming ZIMRA. Because it's not ZIMRA is not the one who... ZIMRA, they don't endorse that.
Yeah, they don't.
They are always giving us information about corruption.
But wait, what do they've got a whistleblower thing going on where if you are ever involved in a transaction that is not official, you can report. I've never seen heads rolling in ZIMRA. I've got 2 of my friends who work there. They are driving nice cars and it's not their salary. I hope I won't be called to mention their names. But well, that's what's happening.
But it's happening everywhere. It's not only with, I still remember, even with passports right now, yes, they've put in an efficient system. But do you know that for you to even get a passport urgently also, there's a guy who is also saying, give me 10, give me 20 for me to process this faster. And there's a guy who is going to jump lines with you when you pay him something. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So corruption... It's not a Zimbabwean thing. It's a Southern Africa thing, but it's an African syndrome. I heard that at this other board, I think it's DRC. When you're getting into DRC, they'll just take your passport and go. 1 hour, they're still stamping your passport until you actually pay something. They'll release your passport. So
I give up.
But no, probably this it's not fair to really blame all these guys who are doing it because they're seeing an opportunity. If you block that, it simply means these guys are never. Because do you know what? Right now, can you go and sell granite for a lot of money? Granite stones. Huh? Can you sell that for a lot of money? Or can you even dare to actually sell granite stones?
No, I wouldn't.
But why do we sell gold?
Because it's a precious metal.
And it's what? It's scarce.
Yes,
Yeah? You have to buy a lot of equipment, compressors,
Processing equipment,
etc.
yes, yeah.
for you to get that what?
That
Gold.
yeah.
But granite is everywhere.
It's
So-
readily available.
If we make things easily available, it reminds me of 2008 when things were very tough. We would queue for us to get sugar. We would pay bribes for us to get cooking oil.
Yes.
Because why there was scarcity? If you make everything easily accessible,
Yeah.
it simply means there's no need for me to pay what? Bribes. If
Okay.
the process is simple, like for
Supply
me,
versus demand.
exactly. Like for me, when I want to check, if we make check-in at an airport very difficult, sooner than later people will start paying for them to check in.
Faster
But if
processing.
check-in is simple, you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Why should people pay?
Yeah, they wouldn't.
So if processes are made simple, it simply means that there is no need for kickbacks.
Okay. Or maybe, why don't we talk about eliminating the human factor in certain areas that stop the whole process? Like, for example, with the ZIMRA system, where they have to approve your application for the TIN number. There's a person who manually approves.
So
What if we have a software that
it defeats the purpose of even having a software.
Exactly.
I strongly feel that software can approve on its own.
Exactly, because there are a lot of we are now in the age of AI. It can see and tell apart a fake document from an original one.
Exactly.
And then it just approves or declines.
And why does even the system still need manual documents?
Yeah.
Why even our registered companies are still manual?
Yeah.
Why can't we just register a company? You are given a certificate which is not signed by that guy at the register of companies. There's someone who only sits for them to sign
just
certificate. Every day they're signing
And
certificate.
your
Every day they're
consultant
signing certificate.
your consultant will tell you, please pay me $10 for the registrar so that they sign.
They sign
Like,
fast.
I honestly think the registrar doesn't know that people are collecting money using his name or her name. I don't think so.
Do you think so?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think he knows.
Please tag him in
I
the comment
think he
section.
know.
We don't want to have a conversation. But can we get access to him or her? Is it a him or a her?
Do
you know-
Would they come?
They must. Why not? They're in a government. They're in a public office, and they're supposed to be accountable to us.
Yeah. So, but they know we're addressing symptoms.
Yeah.
What about if you address the real disease? The real disease is I'm supposed to just register my company through the system.
Yes.
Submit my 5 names. They are approved by the system.
System, yes.
Not a certain guy who's
Who's
eating
checking,
salsa
yeah.
and salt.
Yeah.
When a process just involves a human being,
Then we are done.
corruption starts.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
when my name is approved, I submit my director's name with a certain format. ID, this is how we are supposed to submit the ID.
Yes.
This is how we are supposed to submit all the information which is requested. After I've submitted that information, then if the system sees that no, the name is approved and information is approved, they tick the next, the system approves the next process. Until we get to this system, a certificate which is generated by the system.
Yes.
If we eliminate human beings in this whole process, definitely there's not going to be corruption. How are we going to get corruption? No way.
There's no way. You can't bribe the
You
system.
can break the system.
And you know what? I believe that we have got the human resources to execute this. I mean, we've got Zimbabweans who are working for international companies like Google, Microsoft, and they're not even there in America. They are doing remote jobs for Google in Zimbabwe.
But my brother,
If we take those people and then can they develop
before we
that
go
system?
there,
Yeah.
do you know that I was surprised? I was given a business card by one of the directors were at a function. So I got about four business cards from government officials. Do you know what I saw? A shocker. It's actually the emails they're still using. It's Gmail. And we are saying Zimbabwe, Gmail is an American-owned company.
And it's private for that.
Zimbabwe, we are not in good books with America.
We actually have sanctions.
So it simply means whatever we are writing through communicating within our government,
if they want
it's filtered
access
to America.
Yes.
Directly.
Absolutely.
Without anyone even actually, without them even hacking our systems.
Yeah.
They're getting that information for free.
They've got official government documents being moved between government officials using Gmail. So they can access it.
So it's all about us addressing. That's why I'm always advocating.
Yeah.
I was having an argument with one of the teachers at my kids' school. And I was saying to her, why is that you guys haven't introduced the laptops at this school?
Yeah.
And she was saying, no, the screen time, kids, they suffer dementia, what, because of screen time.
Yeah.
You see where the problem is?
Yeah.
We are so allergic to technology. We need all our processes to be very manual.
Yes.
For us to say they are really, for something to work, it's supposed to have a file and probably
someone moving with documents, office to office.
Documents and people feel, even right now, if you see some of our lawyers, they're still carrying all those big bags. You see, those I don't know those bags. What are they?
They used to contain case files. I think those bags should only contain maybe something like what could you need?
A laptop or an iPad. You get into the court with an iPad and accessing everything. And I think we've got a software actually which records all the cases. I think when you want to refer cases.
The electronic case management system. Yeah.
But do you think people, they want to use that? They want to feel important
with
all the papers and the files.
Flipping through,
making paper noise to be physical. You see? So until we are saying, because it's starting from a kid.
Yeah.
She's finishing ECD, no computer. Getting into primary level, no computer. They will start handling a computer whilst they're now doing a dissertation
in university.
That's when you start noticing kids typing like this.
Yeah. Actually, I had a couple of friends in university who started using their laptops in university. I was even teaching them how to create a PowerPoint.
I've got some who are even recording us, who started learning computers whilst they were now at work. If they were not off camera, they would confess. But anyway, it's a story of another day. So it's a system which you're supposed to. Sometimes these things are being done because we're ignorant. These things are being done because we're not moving with times. And I was saying, what's the need of me having mathematics timetable? You're forced to link
plotting things.
But right now I can easily multiply using my calculator. I've got a computer which has got also an inbuilt calculator. I've got a phone with a calculator. So why should I memorize everything? It's like everyone is. If you just imagine, I've got 16,000 contacts. Trying to memorize each and every contact. Because my head is just like a computer as well. I need to store some information. Delete information is not important. Store it somewhere. When I need it, I can go and access it there. But right now, I've got a lot of unnecessary information
crammed in our heads.
You see, so that's true. That's the problem. What I think the source of the problem, until we accept that the world has changed.
That's very
How
true.
can our kids in ECD they'll start to handle computers? How can we have our kids in primary level start to handle computers? That's when we can change as a continent. But right now,
very true.
We still remain where we are.
Until we make changes to the system, right? So let's move on to the next topic. But before I dive into that one, I'm just going to drop a piece of information. I don't want you to comment, then we just move on. Do you know that it's far much more easier to hack into Gmail than to hack the Starlink network? I know what you're going to do with that information, but let's move on. Real estate in Zimbabwe. Real estate in Zimbabwe. So we've got people who are building $500,000 mansions only to collect $500 rentals. And if you ask them, what do you do for a living? My friend, I'm into real estate. I build properties and then I make a return of the rentals. Okay.
Some of these issues,
$500,000
vis-a-vis.
Actually, let me pull out that calculator that we're just talking about, and then we just do the mathematics to see what people are really doing.
What I know probably is someone is. Let us put it in a practical sense. someone is got a property of 100,000. Probably it's probably Madoke or ZIMRA Park, around that area, Rua. It's more, it's 100,000, those properties.
Okay.
Average, probably maximum.
All right.
What you're going to get from a property.
Yeah, we've got 100,000.
So let's say if someone is renting a full house.
Yeah. How much are
those
they
kind
paying?
of properties, $600 to $800.
600 to 800. Okay, let's use 800.
800. Let's say that is maximum.
Okay, so
So
100,000 property divided by $800 rentals. Yeah, you need rent repayments of 125 for you to recoup the money.
125 months.
So that's 125 months.
125 months.
Yeah, 125
divided by 12.
months. Divided by 12, that would give us 10 years, 10 and a half years roughly, before you get your money back.
Oh. Okay. And remember that $800 is got, you need to repair the building for 10 years.
For 10 years.
Repainting. Remember, this is not you is using this property.
Yeah, it's being rented.
It's being rented.
Yeah. You get a code.
Bills.
The gate is not working anymore.
Bills also.
Bills, yeah.
So are they in real estate, according to you?
I don't think so. Because the guys whom I know who are genuinely doing real estate, they buy properties that have got a good value, but because of how the property is now looking, it has diminished in value.
Yeah.
So they buy those properties, renovate them for a fee, then sell them at a markup. So they buy a property today, 4 months later, the guys are done with renovations, and then they resell it for a markup, and then they pocket the difference.
But
that's my understanding of real estate.
But just to spice up the conversation.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that big companies, they don't own properties?
They rent.
Why?
It's much more expensive to own a property.
Because I've noticed most of the big companies, blue chip companies, they don't own their premises. They rather rent.
Yeah.
And if you also get into even to big companies, if you notice, even their desks, they're not that fancy.
Yeah.
They're not new.
They're not even.
They're using. Why? Why is that? Because probably that's where the logic is. To say when you rent, sometimes it's cheaper than actually owning.
Yeah. Especially given the fact that you are locking up 100,000 into an asset which you otherwise could have used for other things, that 100,000, and it would make you more money.
More money.
And then you buy even a better property. And also, I don't know, we've been deceived into thinking that a house is an asset when you're living in it. I remember it was Robert Kiyosaki said, as long as you're staying in that house, it's not an asset, it's a liability. Because who's paying for the expenses? It's you.
It's you.
So it's not an asset. And then the other thing, our properties in Zimbabwe, they are overpriced.
Oh.
Why? Why? You know what? There's a bank that released, they were so excited. Exciting news, new stands, under development, chi, what. Do you know how much they're charging for 1 square meter? $80. For 1 square meter, $80.
Is this stand in Mars?
I don't know, it's here in Zimbabwe.
Probably.
Very urban, actually.
Probably Elon Musk has started selling his stands in Mars, Because,
those prices, they don't make any sense at all. And also, then you want to look at the private property rights. You know, title deeds haven't been coming out for a very long time now. So you don't have a document that attests to your ownership of that property. So why am I paying that much?
$80 per square meter.
Yes.
So which means 1,000 square meters is how much? 80,000.
Yes. So you could actually buy a house in ZIMRA Park, Rua, where we're discussing. Instead of
you can buy 4 in high density suburbs.
So now imagine.
You can buy 4 houses.
Imagine for the price of land, you can buy yourself 4 houses.
What I think when it's real estate, if it's real estate, what I think personally, I'm not an expert in that field, but what I've seen other experts also doing is most of the people, they get it wrong. When you want to get into real estate, don't get fancy suburbs or big properties. If you get your small properties in Budiriro and Glenview, you get those 4 houses. Because in those high density suburbs, there are high chances of having 4 tenants in one house. And when you have got many tenants in one house, it's easy for you to charge this one $100, this one $200, this one probably another $50. And probably if there are 4, they'll be paying you probably $400 to $500. But you've actually invested something like $20,000 to buy that property. It simply means that you are going to recoup your money earlier. And probably if you buy, was remember, if you're holding 100,000, you're going to buy 5. When you buy 5, it simply means that probably you can get rentals of 2,500, 3,000, thereabouts, just with my layman calculations.
Yeah.
When you get 3,000 a month, it simply means that in that same year, you can buy another property using these rentals.
Absolutely. And you know what? There are guys who are making a killing. You know those guys who've got houses that are located around learning institutions?
Exactly.
Those guys are making a killing. I was doing the mathematics.
And they charge per head, not per...
Exactly.
They charge per head, not per house.
You know, in Belvedere, there's Harare Institute of Technology. I will always point back to it because that's where I learned. There are houses that are there.
That's why you're a bit smarter.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's like the MIT. Do you know they did some wordplay? You know MIT, one of the most brilliant technological universities in the world, Massachusetts, MIT. So they then did the wordplay and then came up with HIT, very smart stuff. But anyway, in Belvedere, the houses around, if you want to rent them out, like the house, it's around 450, the full house. But then because now there's a university and there are students and whatnot, they charge $100 per head. These houses that I'm talking about, they were 4-bedroomed houses with a dining and a kitchen. They converted the dining into a big room. So in one room, they'll put 4 students in bunk beds, 2 bunk beds, one on top, one on the... Then, so this is 4 by 4, that's 16 people paying you $100 each. So you get, from the 4 bedrooms that you'd otherwise get 450, you're not getting more than that. So these guys, they are really making a killing.
They're making money.
They're making money. And guess what? They won't be paying taxes. Because the process for them to be paying, it's cumbersome.
It's cumbersome because I want to pay, but hey, for me to also pay.
Yeah.
I've had one of my clients, I think we're not paying to taxes. They wanted to deposit they wanted to actually pay the tax authorities. But the bank was saying, what you're doing is wrong. So you're supposed to go to this other bank. I ended up saying, no, I'm not going to pay.
And they ended up not paying. And they missed out on revenue.
Yeah. So I think with real estate, people have to plan. Yeah. With big houses now, we are looking at your Greendales of this old Mandaras. Those places is very difficult for people, for even 2 tenants to stay at the same house.
Yeah.
Because the people are looking for those houses. Mostly they're looking for privacy.
Yeah.
And if you can also see, it's very difficult for you to charge probably 2,000 or 1,600, which you're talking about, on that kind of premise. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into real estate, this is a good business. But I also think that we need to bring an expert, talk to guys from Realtorville and bring them here, interview them. Then we need to know, they need to clarify to us when someone wants to invest into real estate. What they're calling real estate, when someone has got a bit of money, they buy 5 stands. Those stands, probably they've actually bought each stand for 20,000. They're going to have 100,000 tied up for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
They'll be just telling you, walking at a bar, telling you that, no, I've got 5 stands. I'm rich. My things are okay. I've got 5 stands. But
how much return are you getting from those?
And even right now, if your kid is going to be sick today, are you able to sell those stands in less than 3 months?
You can't.
You can't. So are you able to convert that into cash as easy as possible?
It's not convertible. It's difficult. Yeah.
I've heard of someone who's got a house in Borodobrook. I think those guys, they're saying it's not 3 years trying to sell that house. No one is buying it.
Yeah.
Because they're saying you're overpricing the house.
Exactly.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then we move on to the other topic where we are having churches. I was surprised that there's a good number of churches that are registered as churches. It's more than the number of companies that are actually contributing to the economy.
Steve, is it true that companies we now have more churches than companies?
Yes. We've got more churches than companies. And to further prove it, do you know that the bulk of the industries have been closing up?
Yeah, I've noticed.
And when they close, guess what happens?
Church gets it.
The church comes in. Papa comes with the youths and they move aside all the productive machinery into one corner. Then they convert the whole open space into a church. And now they are prophesying and praying and fasting for jobs.
And start.
What's your take on that?
Africa. That's where Africa now. Africa.
Yeah.
It's about not understanding how things work. I think Bishop Tutu Bismarck once said it in a sermon when he was comparing, I think it's Ghana and in South Korea, when he was actually saying, this guy is they got independence same year.
Just about the same year.
But Ghana is still back there. And South Korea is the first one.
Advanced, yeah.
But he was saying, but the bulk of the Korean country, they're actually Buddhists, Shintoists. That's what he was saying, Buddhists, Shintoists. But us, we're shouting hallelujah, crying, some screaming, some rolling, some even fighting in the church for the sake of the name. So what he was saying was, we don't really understand how this earth actually works, or this planet works. It rewards those who are actually working hard, no matter they pray, no matter they don't. So that's why you notice that guy who you hate, who you think is a fornicator, who you think is an adulterer, who you think is a Satanist,
you'll be making more money
every day than
because
you.
He works hard.
Because he knows how things operate. Sometimes it's not about working hard. Sometimes it's about also working smart. Because we all have got 24 hours in a day. But you notice that how you are utilizing that 1 minute, how you are utilizing that 10 minutes, it's very important. So until we understand that praying, he actually said, I'm mentioning his words for the sake of other people who think that probably I'm just an antagonist. He even said, it's because we don't understand, like church is not part of praying, is not part of the success equation.
Okay.
That's what he actually said. But it's in the what?
In
the revelation.
The revelation equation. Okay.
So he's saying when you're praying, it's all about the spirit. It's all about the life after, which you believe that it exists. Then that's what you're praying for. But unfortunately now, we think that when we fast for 21 days, without working,
it will translate to economic success.
In a magic. I don't know how it's going to happen. That's why we know all the verses. But you can know all the verses, you can claim all the verses. Whilst you're still broke. Because you're not practicing what is supposed to be done on this earth.
You don't know how to sell.
You don't know how to sell. You don't know how to go out in the market. You're shy. You still remain a guy who is very powerful in prayer, but we are broke. So this is what actually Bishop Tutu Bismarck, so he summed it up. As Africa, we need to really understand that as much as we're supposed to be even more successful, because we know God. We say we know God, we pray very hard. After praying very hard, what about you also work very hard?
That's the part that's missing.
Exactly.
If I pray, then I sit back. Clients will come. I will pray for clients.
It's grace.
Yeah.
And he's going to do everything by fire, by force, and by fever.
You know what?
So I noticed even what we are saying in Green Side. There's a big building. I used to see smoke there, which means production was happening. But right now there's now a big poster. It's now Papa's ministry. So
miracles.
And people will be busy fasting for job miracles in a factory.
When they've put the machines aside.
What about if we take the machines?
No.
You see? And what we are missing also, and we have to mention it. Church has also been converted into business in some way.
Absolutely. And you know what? We were talking about taxes. Do you know churches don't pay tax?
So if I want to hide beer, if I want to register a company, I'll just register it under a church.
Why don't we register our companies as churches?
M&J Ministries.
Yes, M&J Ministries. Then we have got the clients as the congregants who will stop us from giving business advisory services.
Apostolic.
Yes. And then we operate like that. So if we then render services to our congregants, they'll pay in our church account. Yeah, why not?
These are tithes.
Do you know? Okay, let's look at the real life examples. Do you know that those churches are selling their DVDs that they produce?
Yeah.
They're selling them at a profit, at a markup.
Yeah.
They sell those wristbands. They sell anointing oil. Who is taxing that money? Do you know that even the containers that they put the anointing oil, they are shipped. They ship those containers. They are not even paying duty because they're being said they are for the church. They're importing cars for Papa, duty free, because it's imported under the church's name.
We don't want to sound like we're fighting churches, but what we're saying is, do we really know how things work? Like we're saying, that's why churches are most filming. If they were not profitable, what was going to be an incentive of opening churches?
Yeah, of course, nothing.
Nothing. Because it seems people are benefiting from it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't know. Probably people are supposed to be benefiting. If what little, because we're going to be lambasted, I know that comments will be coming left, right, center from sons of the papas, sons of the pastors and everything. And also the papas themselves, they'll be also throwing shade and throwing stones. Yeah. But anyway, are we telling each other the truth that after I've prayed for you, please go and work?
No. A very few people are saying that. Most of these papas, their relevance in someone's life is dependent on how much they can keep one ignorant. If they take information that is important from a congregant, that's the only way they can keep them in that bench and coming to the services and giving the papa more money. So they'll never say things that are productive and will make that congregant alert. It's more like people now leave their brains at home when they go to church. But some of the things that we see on social media happening in church, you're trying to add 2 and 2 and it's not coming together. Especially when you cross over into the new year. I heard a certain pastor, he was preaching about offerings and how you need to have a 24 in your offering. I'm like, okay. It's not like if I don't give you...
We should have a 24 in your offering.
Yes, so either you were paying $24, $124, 240, 2,400. It's just head-to-head, 24 in it. For you
to be blessed.
Yes. You're saying double anointing or whatever. And then, fun twist, they were entrepreneurs in the congregant. Do you know what he said? And then, so for the individuals, they're saying 124, the $24, they said, for the business people, double anointing in your business.
48.
Yes, I want the 240,000. Those were the amounts that he was talking about. I'm like, okay. Do you know that if I take that money that you're asking me to give you and I invest it into my business, I'll make even more money? And then that's where we are at as Africans.
So who is fooling who?
We are the fools. Because I know there's a saying that says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Shame on me.
How does the same trick work twice on one person? It doesn't make sense. Like, don't we learn how many fake prophets and papas have been exposed? But we still want anointing. Let's move on. Okay, so the last one, before we call it a rep, we're going to be looking at the monetization of audiences on social media. There's a certain social media lady who came out saying, I've got more followers on my social media account.
1.6 million.
Yeah, if you all give me $1 each,
I'll make 1.6
million. I'll be a millionaire instantly. What do you think about that? How do you monetize your followers on social media? Is it right to ask for money from people like that?
She's a comedian, so I wouldn't probably she was not serious. Probably it was a joke. I don't know.
But these days.
Okay, but let's say if it was true.
Okay.
I strongly feel like my people are supposed to give me money because I've given them some value.
Yes.
You can still monetize your followers by actually. What about if you do what there's the young man who is actually doing well? I think his name is Kwateri. You know him?
Yeah, Kwateri. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that young man is doing very well. He noticed that he's got a following on Twitter. He now has a lot of following also on Facebook. But what he does, gets into town with his, what do you call those chickens? Road runners. Comes into town, sell those chickens, make money through his followers.
Yeah.
He actually advertises, I'm getting into Harare, load his combi with chickens, sell them. He's making money through his followers.
Yeah.
So I strongly feel that instead of us probably begging, we rather probably find ways, sell sweets to 1.6 million followers, sell whatever you're going to be selling, and they'll promote you.
Yeah.
And definitely you can be a millionaire out of those followers. If you've got a way of actually, because it's a matter of giving value to those followers. If you also give them value, they can return back by also giving you money in a legitimate way, whereby people, they won't say, he actually swindled our money. And I don't think, probably even if you've got 70 million followers, if you tell them to give you $1, they're going to do that. I don't know. Probably
it will make sense. Do you know why it's easy to ask for money? I've seen people who are able-bodied. You are driving past them, they'll come and knock at your window. They're asking for something. But I'm looking at the person. You've got both hands. You've got your eyesight. You can even speak and you can even hear. You are on your feet. Why aren't you working? And then I always come back to this conversation. Your favorite topic, sales. It's the ability to sell that lacks in them.
Exactly.
You know, because the moment you start telling someone to start a business, now they have to prospect to understand their market. You know, so that information is not available in their head, in their mind, or whatever. So it's easier to then end up asking for handouts.
But I don't think she was serious. But anyway,
You think
there
so?
are other people out doing it in a serious way. Personally knowing her,
Yeah.
I don't think she was serious. She was just joking. But knowing those who are serious, who are thinking that if I've got a lot of following, I'm going to monetize by begging. I don't think it works.
It doesn't
You
work.
can only monetize those followers
Yeah.
by trying to sell them value.
Yeah, that's very true.
Sell them value, they'll pay you money. If you're selling to corporates, find something which you can sell to corporates. If you're selling to individuals, find something they're going to sell to individuals. Definitely they'll buy.
Yeah, like what we are doing here, we've got advertisement spaces for those who want to partner with us. That's the value that we can offer you for liking
We are
and
even
following.
begging, guys, our followers.
Please.
Kindly come and you also, if you make $1 each, you sponsor our podcast. You also make money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everyone is happy and we'll
And
continue
you market
making
your
content.
product, you market your business.
Then everybody wins at the end of the day.
Great.
That would be wonderful. And you know what? I always like to point back to that young man that you introduced me to. What's his name? The blind guy, Matthew. He's got a very inspirational story. So the young man
We're
is
supposed to call him.
yeah, absolutely. We need to. The young man is blind, right? But he operates a tuck shop. If you want to donate to him, you tell you come and buy at my tuck shop. Don't donate to me. I don't want your donation. If you want to support me, come and buy from my tuck shop. And I remember at one point you said he was even running and operating
a combi.
A combi
He was
fleet.
managing combi fleet.
Yeah. Imagine, and he's blind. So what's your excuse? What's the excuse? You even have data, a laptop, a gadget that you are using to view this content. What's your excuse? What's your excuse, Africans? Do you know that I was having a conversation with Arthur Marara? He asked me a very simple question, but it got me thinking. He said, do you know that we have much more advanced technology than they used back then when they went to space? So what are you doing with that piece of technology in your hands?
Okay, like when they went to the moon.
Yes.
But those guys, were they telling the truth?
Why
is that?
That's another story for that.
that?
Why are you ruining my moment? This is my superstar moment. I was trying to, you just ruined everything. Guy, you know what? Actually, let's end here. I'm done for today. Ladies and gentlemen, that was JailBreak Africa. Please follow us, subscribe, and share with your friends. We always come to you live. That's every other Friday at 6 p.m. GMT +2. Jerry, why did you have to do that? Why?